The Armada arrived without announcement, without hesitation, and without equal. It did not creep into the solar system. It consumed the horizon of space, blotting out distant stars as thousands of warships aligned in perfect formation. Every vessel moved with calculated precision, a single mind guiding an unstoppable force. Within moments, every human satellite, station, and deep space sensor was locked onto the same impossible reality. Then the message came. It did not target governments or leaders. It flooded every channel, every frequency, every device capable of receiving a signal. The translation was flawless, immediate, and absolute. Surrender your world. Resistance will result in extinction. No emotion. No negotiation. No room for misunderstanding. For a moment, silence followed across Earth's networks. Billions of people, countless systems, all processing the same ultimatum. The scale of the threat was undeniable. There was no visible defense fleet, no massive armada waiting to counter the invasion. By every measurable standard, humanity was outmatched. And yet, there was no panic. No fragmented responses. No desperate pleas. Instead, a single transmission began forming, one signal, unified, deliberate. It did not originate from a single location, nor did it carry the identity of any individual. No face, no authority, no symbol of leadership. Just a voice. Calm. Measured. Certain. Humanity had answered as one. The signal reached the invading fleet instantly. This is your final warning. Leave the solar system immediately. Nothing more followed. No elaboration. No threats. No display of force. Just certainty. Within the command vessels of the Armada, the response was immediate: analysis, interpretation, dismissal. Their scans showed nothing capable of stopping them. No hidden fleets. No advanced weapon signatures. No energy buildup that suggested defensive measures. The planet below appeared technologically inferior, strategically exposed, and completely vulnerable. The message was categorized as primitive defiance. Irrelevant. Orders were issued without delay. The fleet advanced. Engines ignited across thousands of ships in perfect synchronization, pushing the Armada deeper into the system. Formation tightened. Weapons systems powered in preparation, though no resistance had yet appeared. From their perspective, the outcome was already decided. But as the fleet crossed further inward, something shifted. It was small at first. Barely noticeable. A flicker in a navigation system. A brief delay in signal relay. A minor fluctuation in power distribution. Each incident was isolated, insignificant on its own. Routine irregularities that occurred in any large-scale operation. They were logged and ignored. But they did not stop. More ships began reporting similar inconsistencies. Guidance systems recalibrating without command. Internal clocks desynchronizing by fractions of a second. Targeting arrays briefly losing lock before correcting themselves. Still, nothing critical. No alarms triggered. No damage detected. Yet, the command structure of the Armada continued its advance, confident in its superiority. To them, these were trivial imperfections, noise in an otherwise flawless operation. The humans had issued a warning, yes, but it carried no weight. No force stood behind it. And so, the Armada pressed forward. Behind them, Earth remained silent. No second message followed. No escalation. Only the quiet, unwavering presence of a species that had already spoken once, and felt no need to repeat itself. The fleet moved deeper. And the anomalies followed. The deeper the Armada advanced, the less stable its perfection became. What had been dismissed as minor interference no longer stayed isolated. Entire clusters of ships began reporting synchronized failures, systems faltering in patterns too precise to be random. Engines that had burned flawlessly across galaxies stalled without warning. Weapon arrays powered down mid-cycle, refusing to reinitialize. Navigation systems looped endlessly, feeding crews the same coordinates again and again as if space itself had frozen. Still, there was no visible attack. No incoming fire. No energy signatures. No opposing fleet. Only silence and failure. Command vessels attempted to isolate the cause. Diagnostics were executed across every layer of their systems. Firewalls were reinforced. Internal networks were segmented, quarantined, purged. Each protocol activated with absolute confidence in their design. None of it worked. The failures did not spread like a conventional breach. They appeared everywhere at once, surfacing in systems that had never been connected, triggering in hardware that operated independently. It was not an intrusion moving through their network. It was already there. Ships began drifting out of formation as propulsion failed without warning. Massive hulls that once moved in perfect synchronization now veered unpredictably, forcing emergency maneuvers that only made the situation worse. Collisions followed, slow, grinding impacts between vessels that should have never touched. Panic, once impossible within such a disciplined force, began to surface. Attempts to reboot systems only accelerated the breakdown. Every reset triggered deeper corruption. Every override command returned distorted or incomplete. Control was slipping, not gradually, but all at once. Then came the realization. The human transmission. The warning had not been simple communication. It had carried structure, layers beneath the audible message, patterns buried within the signal itself. It had been received, processed, accepted, and embedded. It had waited. Every ship that had acknowledged the warning had already been marked. And now, as the fleet crossed further into the solar system, that hidden layer activated. Not as an explosion. Not as a visible strike. But as total systemic failure. Across the Armada, one by one, ships went dark. What began as failure revealed something far worse than sabotage. As more ships fell silent, long-range sensors, those still functioning, started detecting structures where none should exist. At first, they appeared as distortions buried in asteroid fields, faint signatures near the orbits of distant planets, fragments of energy patterns that did not match any known technology. Then they activated. Across the solar system, hidden points of origin came alive in perfect synchronization. Massive constructs unfolded from within asteroids, their surfaces shifting with impossible geometry. Others ignited in the void between planets, previously invisible, now radiating controlled energy fields that stretched across millions of kilometers. This was not a scattered defense. It was a network. Every failing system within the alien fleet responded to these structures as if linked, as if the signal embedded within them was now being completed by something external. Ships that still retained partial control found it slipping entirely. Power rerouted without command. Core systems locked out their own operators. Entire vessels froze in place, held by forces that could not be resisted. Then the disappearances began. Ships did not explode. They did not break apart. They simply ceased to exist. One moment present, fully intact, fully operational, and the next gone without trace. No debris. No radiation. No residual energy spike. Just absence. The command hierarchy attempted to respond, but their data streams were collapsing faster than orders could be issued. What remained of their sensors began pulling fragments of archived knowledge, ancient records, dismissed as myth. A precursor system. A boundary enforcement network. Something older than every known civilization. And humanity was not building it. Humanity was using it. No signal came from Earth to explain it. No declaration of power. Only the system, fully awake, executing its purpose with flawless precision. The fleet was no longer being attacked. It was being erased. What remained of the Armada no longer resembled an invasion force. It was fragmented, scattered, barely holding together. Entire divisions had vanished without explanation. Others drifted powerless, their systems unresponsive, their crews cut off from command. The unified precision that once defined them had collapsed into disarray. Signals flooded every remaining channel, distress calls, fragmented reports, desperate attempts to re-establish coordination. None of it changed the reality unfolding around them. The network continued its silent execution, selecting targets, disabling, erasing. The command vessels assessed what little data they could still process. There was no countermeasure. No adaptation. No victory. Only one option remained. Retreat. The orders spread unevenly through the surviving fleet, carried by damaged relays and broken communication lines. Engines that still functioned were pushed to their limits, ships turning away from the inner system, abandoning formation entirely in a desperate attempt to escape. For a moment, nothing changed. Then, as the first vessels crossed back toward the outer boundary, the pressure lifted. System stabilized. Power returned. Navigation corrected itself. The unseen force that had gripped them simply stopped. No pursuit followed. No final strike. They were being allowed to leave. That realization spread faster than panic ever had. The destruction had not been indiscriminate. It had not been uncontrolled. It had been measured. Deliberate. Every phase of the collapse had followed a pattern, escalating only as the fleet advanced, stopping the moment they withdrew. The warning. It had been real. Not a threat. Not a display of defiance. A choice. Leave and survive. Stay and be erased. As the last surviving ships limped out of the solar system, carrying the remnants of what had once been an unstoppable force, a single understanding settled across every crew, every command structure, every survivor who would carry this memory into the galaxy. Humans had not needed to fight. They had simply chosen when to stop.